This is one of those moments. You gotta ask yourself, what kind of life do I want? The world ain't built for guys like us. That's why we gotta take whatever we decide is ours. Those Carmine Falco's right hand trying to push me out. Go away! You already seen what I can do. You step out of line, do it once. I'll get you like a goddamn fish. Can you imagine people saying my name in the streets after you're gone? It would mean something. The new Kingpin of Gotham.
Let's go! Wow, that was awesome! Welcome back to Movies TV Mad. You can follow me on Twitter at Movies TV Mad. Smash the like button if you love me. Subscribe if you're new. Please have your say. And a very warm welcome to Thursday's, yes, Thursday's edition of the DC Universe Daily. And welcome to today's show. That was the first promo reaction of the Penguin series from Matt Reeves, the continuation of his The Batman movie, literally a week after in narrative timeline where the film left off. And bloody hell, I thought they only started shooting this a few weeks ago. Already, look at how they cleaned that promo out. This was released as part of the huge HBO Max Day. Loads of announcements, but one of the announcements that hasn't gone down very well with me, is that they're cutting the HBO out of the branding and they're just going to call it Max. Sounds like a soft drink. Pepsi Max. I wish I had a can of Pepsi Max, but I don't drink sugar-free drink. I know it's terrible. You can see my teeth paying for that as well. But hey, it's a terrible name. First of all, it should never have been called HBO Max in the first place. The branding should have had Warner Brothers or WB in the branding. They should have fixed that mistake, and they didn't. Basically, their share price has gone down to 6%. Wall Street did not like the whole announcements, and there's a few announcements they didn't like, clearly, but the rebranding from HBO Max to Max hasn't gone down well at all. And there's a lot to talk about, like the Harry Potter reboot. I know this is the DC Universe Daily, but at the end of the day, we're going to talk about everything because it's basically a streaming service for Warner Brothers Discovery that own the DC IP. So it's all very, very important. So there was a few announcements. That was one of them. So just to be clear, the Penguin series comes to Max, not HBO Max, but Max in 2024. So next year is the year of the DC quality content in terms of stuff directed by DC auteurs. Next year, next October, we're getting Joker 2, Joker Folie à Deux, and the Penguin. And I think we're also going to be getting something else, which is the first entry to James Gunn's DCU, and it's the Creature Commandos animated series. And on this bit of paper, I have the casting announcements that were made during this brand new kind of relaunch for Max. I'm going to have to get used to it. So it's not HBO Max anymore. It's Max. It's damn. It's bad branding. And as I said, Wall Street weren't happy. This studio is a clusterfuck. David Zaslav seemed to me like someone who knew what he was talking about. But I mean, he's absolutely missed the bean. He's like walked into this situation. He's made a bad situation even worse. So, you know, this launch wasn't good. But I will say one thing. This promo for the Penguin, I absolutely loved it. The only positive moment from yesterday's event. So basically, HBO Max and James Gunn have announced the casting for Creature Commandos. Now, we knew Frank Grillo was going to be somebody, play someone in the new DC universe. Wow. But I didn't see this coming. He's playing Rick Flag Sr. Now, it's very important to understand that Creature Commandos just won't be, you know, appearing in animated form. James Gunn has confirmed this will be on all platforms. So if you're part of this cast list, you will be playing these characters not just in animation, but in gaming and in live action. Now, despite me being sometimes negative about the DCU and James Gunn's running of it, and how I do have concerns about him writing and directing a Superman movie and being a co-CEO of this brand new DC Studios and DCU, I think the casting that we had yesterday is very exciting. Now, let me be clear here before I read the rest of the cast out. This was always happening. Creature Commandos, The Authority, basically Peacemaker 2, Waller were always happening as part of his Suicide Squad universe. This is what he should be doing instead of being a co-CEO of DC Studios. This guy isn't a CEO, but if they just allowed him to do this, he was always doing this underwater Armada, Creature Commandos, The Authority, and more Suicide Squad stuff, which he's very good at. Creature Commandos is a group, like the Guardians of the Galaxy. The Authority is a team, a supervillainy superhero team, right? We know that's his strengths. We know he's a one-trick pony, but he's good at that one trick. So this is what he should be doing. So yes, Frank Grillo as Rick Flag Sr. Now, narratively, I'm assuming he's playing the father of Rick Flag from the Suicide Squad movie and the first Suicide Squad movie. So if he does meet Peacemaker, that'd be very interesting. Now, will we get an animated version of Peacemaker in Creature Commandos? It'll be interesting. Now, this is another piece of great casting that I'm excited about. David Harbour. I've always liked David Harbour since Stranger Things. He's probably the best thing about that show. He's been misused in the MCU. Hopefully he's realised not to be involved with them again. But he's going to be playing Frankenstein. David Harbour as Frankenstein. So that's very, very exciting. Then we've got Indira, if I can pronounce her name properly, Indira Varma, a very good actor, playing the bride. Again, very, very solid casting. Then we have the brilliant Alan Tudyk, and he is he's a brilliant actor now. He did defend Joss Whedon when Ray Fisher and several people were accusing him of certain things during the Justice League reshoots, but I don't care. He is a great guy, and he is a great actor, and that's all that should matter to us. So he's playing Dr. Phosphorus in Creature Commandos, so I like that casting. Maria Bakalova as Ilana Rostovic. Now, I don't know the character and I don't know the actor, but yes, it's very interesting. So there's lots of diverse casting in this group. Then we get James's brother, Sean Gunn, reprising his role as Weasel, but also returning as a brand new character called G.I. Robot. And Zoe Cho, finally, as Nina Mazurskaya. Let me try and say that again, because I just murdered that name. Zoe Cho as Nina Mazurskaya. Yeah, all right, I think I did better that time. So, wow, so we're getting Creature Commandos, and we're getting Rick Flag Sr., Frankenstein the Bride, Dr. Phosphorus, Ilana Rostovic, Weasel, G.I. Robot, Nina Mazursky as well. So a very interesting, diverse group of characters here. And this will kick off as an animated series on HBO Max. Now, I don't know when we're getting this, but I'm going to assume it's going to be next year. According to James Gunn, he's very far ahead in the Creature Commandos development. Now, I wouldn't imagine we'll get this year, but maybe we will. But I think we'll get it on Max next year. So I expect Creature Commandos. We're definitely getting Penguin, and we're definitely getting Joker Folie à Deux. So people complaining we're not getting a lot of DC content, we are. But the problem remains that people like me and you who live outside of America or streaming countries where HBO, or should I say Max, is going to be available in, will still have problems. Now, we should get this on Sky Atlantic, this kind of stuff, on Sky Atlantic eventually. But we're going to have to wait a month or two. But obviously, there are other ways we can see it. And if we do choose to watch these things in those ways, it's not our fault. It's the studio's fault for locking this content into HBO Max and not selling it to platforms like Netflix, which are globally available. Netflix is available for me. That's the only one I can literally, legally watch here in Cyprus, Netflix. And it isn't fair because I do want to see Creature Commandos. James Gunn will do a great animated series because this was what James Gunn came to DC to do in the first place. It wasn't Superman, it wasn't Batman, it was Creature Commandos, it was The Authority, it was the Suicide Squad, it was Peacemaker, it was Waller. He will pull off all of that kind of stuff. This is the strength of James Gunn. He's done 2 brilliant Guardians movies, and I think we can say he's probably done 3 great Guardians movies. This is what James Gunn is good at. He's not Coppola. He's not Martin Scorsese. He's James Gunn, and he does these kind of light and fluffy, funny, action-packed, visually stunning, grouped, kind of teams, superhero teams, supervillain teams, really well. This is what James is good at. And I like James when he does this stuff and he sticks to what he knows. He may build up a brilliant DC Studios eventually. He may build up a great DCU. I may be wrong about my concerns over him being co-CEO and Safran being the other CEO. My concerns may come to nothing, but I am very concerned with all of that. But when it comes to Creature Commandos and The Authority and things like that, and Suicide Squad and Peacemaker, he proved with Peacemaker he did a great job. That is his strength. That's what he's good at. So I'm very excited with James Gunn's casting for Creature Commandos, and I think you'll agree that's a great list of characters. And it's going to be very, very interesting how Rick Flag Sr. reacts to Peacemaker if he ever meets him when he finds out that he killed his son. But there's another thing that we don't know, of course. Now, it's weird because I don't think maybe Creature Commandos may not be set in the modern day. It may be set in the past. I don't know. Because how old is Frank Grillo? Is he old enough to have a son as old as Rick Flag? Because when he died, Rick Flag must have been in his 30s or 40s. So maybe Creature Commandos may be set in the past. We'll have to wait and see. I will keep you updated with Creature Commandos, of course. Any Superman and Lois fans in the house? Well, guess who's back in Superman and Lois? That's right, it's Bizarro. And I think this is him from the previous season, but he was, I don't have the picture of his reveal in this week's episode, but he is back. He is brilliant. What's going to happen? We'll have to wait and see. But yes, Bizarro returns to Superman and Lois. Now, we got a brand new, basically TV spot kind of thing via the HBO Max promo yesterday, or should I say the new Max relaunch. And we got a brand new image of Michael Keaton in his classic Batman costume. And I'm about to show it to you if this dumb tablet allows me to. There you go. Wow. Look at that. Doesn't he look great? He looks amazing, right? That's Michael Keaton in a brand new promo of the Flash movie without his helmet on. And doesn't he look great? I could look at this with you guys and girls all day. That's Michael Keaton in the Flash movie. He is in this movie a hell of a lot. So if you're a stan of his version of Batman, you're going to have a good time. So there's lots of Batman in this movie, of course. But of course, the Flashpoint story does have a lot of Batman in it anyway. In the graphic novel, we have the kind of main timeline Batman, and we have, Thomas Wayne as Batman in the Flashpoint universe. So they've just changed which versions of Batman they're using. It's still literally the same usage of Batman than the graphic novel. So people say, there's so much Batman in a Flash movie. Well, in the Flashpoint story, in the Flashpoint paradox, the graphic novel, it's exactly the same thing. All right? So really, you've got nothing to complain about. And if you are complaining about too much Batman in a Flash movie, you don't understand DC and you don't understand the original basis of the Flashpoint graphic novel. So stop complaining. Yes, today's video is really a whole reaction from yesterday's HBO Max relaunch. Now, we've already discussed how they're cutting out the HBO and just calling it Max. They think Max will attract the kids, and the HBO was putting off the kids. Wow, there's a little HBO show, right, starring Zendaya, one of the most popular young actors out there today, and all the kids have been watching her on HBO Max. So HBO hasn't actually been putting off kids, it's been enticing kids. But this is how dumb these people are. The more Casey Bloys, who actually runs this streaming service, or Zaslav speak, the worse it gets. As I said, their share price dropped to 6%. Wall Street did not like all the announcements and the rebranding of HBO Max to Max. But I'm not really that triggered about cutting off the HBO. It's dumb. If you're going to keep on calling it Max, right, you may as well keep the HBO because it's such a respectable place. It makes quality stuff, right? But even worse, as I said earlier, they've never told the normie that, you know, HBO Max is actually a Warner Brothers streaming service. HBO, you know, WB, HBO Max, WB, HBO Plus, WB Plus, anything. Even Disney are not dumb enough not to have Disney in Disney Plus. So everybody knows what Disney Plus is. It's Disney content. Netflix, it's Netflix content. You know, Amazon Prime Video, it's Amazon, right? So you got to know, right? Heinz Baked Beans is Heinz Baked Beans. This is how incompetent these people are, and it goes back to AT&T not telling the normie, not branding HBO Max as a Warner Brothers streaming service. And, you know, Zaslav and Casey Bloys had an opportunity to put that right, and they haven't done it. So that is one of the biggest reasons Wall Street didn't like yesterday's event. Now we need to go to the other news segment away from DC on today's video. Basically, they have now confirmed the rumor that they are rebooting all 7 Harry Potter books into 7 seasons of television on Max, right? And they have said it will have the kind of budget you would get on feature films. And I believe that, not that I know where they're going to find the money to make 7 seasons over 10 years of Harry Potter. You're talking about probably around 150 to 200 million a season, because there's a lot of VFX needed with Harry Potter. Here's my opinion about this reboot. Let me ask you a question, Warner Brothers Discovery. Casey Bloys, you know, J.K. Rowling, you know, people are very angry about, you know, the response from Casey Bloys about J.K. Rowling being involved. Here's my opinion. J.K. Rowling invented Harry Potter. She wrote the book. And basically, Warner Brothers can't do anything without her. That's part of the agreement. Yes, they have the rights to make Harry Potter content, but if she's not involved, if she's not at least an executive producer, nothing can go forward. That's the agreement they made with her when she signed over the film rights and the production rights to Warner Brothers all those years ago. So basically, unless she says yes, they can't do anything. Nobody should be losing their shit because Warner Brothers are working with Joe Rowling. And that's not the reason I'm not happy about this reboot. And let me be absolutely clear, I am very frustrated and triggered about this reboot. And it has nothing to do with Joe's views on the transgender community and her fight for women's rights. I know what she said about it. I'm going to be clear with you. I agree with mostly what Joe Rowling says about that situation. If that upsets you, if you think that, I'm hating the transgender LGBTQ community because of that, you can go away. But I agree with Joe in most of the things she says. She's fighting for women's rights. She's fighting for women's safety. She's made it absolutely clear she has no deep hatred for the LGBTQ community or the transgender community, but women's rights are being trampled on here. It's a complex issue. That's not my issue. Of course, she's got to be involved. Harry Potter belongs to her. It makes absolute sense. You can agree with her, disagree with her. That's not the point. The point is, I own all the books, right? I read them all the time. I own all these movies. These movies are fucking perfect. So why do you need a rebooted Harry Potter that's part of a 10-year plan? 10-year plan sound familiar? Just like the DC Universe plan, right? A 10-year plan. We don't need this. You're going to recast these iconic roles. They were perfectly cast. We don't want to see other actors in the role. We know they're going to have the first maybe Asian or black Harry Potter, or the second kind of, minority actor playing Hermione, because we know in The Cursed Child they've already done that. We know what they're going to do with their casting. They're so predictable. They're going to attempt to rewrite Harry Potter history, and basically, and let's not get this twisted, Joe Rowling is also a propaganda merchant. She is also part of the extreme left, right? Make no mistake about that. And the people who hate her used to love her until she started talking about the transgender issue, right? So it's basically the extreme left eating each other alive. So I'm enjoying and I'm eating my popcorn as I watch this play out. And it's really funny. Now, Casey Bloys said that's political and that's nothing to do with what's on the screen. All they care about is putting quality on the screen. Well, it's about time you did it, Casey, right? Because your company is in major debt. Wall Street didn't react to your announcements very well. So this Harry Potter reboot is as dumb as rebranding this streaming service without telling the normie that it has anything to do with Warner Brothers Discovery. But they are very, very dumb people. There is no need for a reboot, right? I'm assuming we're not going to get any more Fantastic Beasts movies. They haven't really spoken about that. They kind of, let's not mention Fantastic Beasts. What we needed was a continuation of those books and movies that they made. They needed to bring back, Emma Watson, Dan Radcliffe, Rupert Grint, and as many of the cast members who are still around and want to be involved. We should have seen the continuing story in movie theatres. You're talking probably around $2 billion a fucking movie if they did that. But no. Basically, they're going to use Harry Potter as the crutch to hold up these dying streaming platform. Basically, Zaslav stood there on a podium saying, this is the best time to be involved in this industry and streaming. Liar! Streaming services are suffering. People are unsubscribing. People are unsubscribing from your service as they are from Disney Plus and other streamers. There was a poll, and the most trustworthy streamer right now is Netflix. People find it easy to use, good value for money as well. So it's not the best time to be involved in streaming, especially if you're Warner Brothers Discovery or Disney. And this reboot is the dumbest ideas I've ever had. As I say, I've got the books, I've got the movies. Why do I need this reboot? Because it's about diluting, it's about rewriting history, it's about a woker Harry Potter. Make no question about that. And this is why they're doing it, and this is why I decided to mention it on today's video. Even though this is a daily DC video, I'm going to talk about other corners of entertainment because I care about so much of it and I've got so many opinions, and it's like I don't want to do a separate video. That will be better for my channel, but at the end of the day, I just don't have the time. A half an hour video takes about 9 hours to upload. So I really, really wanted to talk about it. Basically, David Zaslav needs his head examining. Before he came in, he spoke about making the most of all his IPs. He's not making the most of Harry Potter. Basically, he hasn't made any announcements about making separate Harry Potter movies for the movie theatre. He's decided to take Harry Potter, basically a cinematic, theatrical box office mammoth, and drag it down to streaming. Basically, this is the Rings of Power all over again. Basically, it's Star Wars, or should I say Disney Star Wars, woke wars all over again. They're going to try to rewrite history. Be warned. You ain't gonna get a better series. Now they're looking for a showrunner. They've made these announcements and they don't even have a fucking showrunner. It'll probably be Mindy Kaling, right? Or some extremist like that. Don't expect the announcements to be exciting. Every time you hear an announcement, you're going to put your hands over your face, because this is where we are in this industry. So this is the worst of their announcements. And by the way, the price plan I saw them announce was absolutely ridiculous. The whole world is in a cost of living crisis. People can't afford it. This geezer has got about 5 fucking pay plans you can choose. And none of the pay plans are that generous, are that value for money. HBO Max isn't a bad platform by any stretch of the imagination, but it isn't worth the money they're offering. Now, thankfully, I'm not going to be subscribing to HBO Max because I can't get it in my country. And if you're in the UK, you can't get it in the UK because of the deal Sky have with HBO. So basically, but you don't miss out. You get a lot of the content on Sky Atlantic. Well, you do miss out if you can't afford a fucking Sky TV subscription. I'll correct myself there. But this Harry Potter reboot and this HBO Max rebrand in calling it Max, you know, is so dumb. And I'm not surprised that Wall Street rejected this rebrand. This is disastrous. And probably Zaslav is shocked about the share price, you know, zonking down like that. These are not good business people. These people don't have a clue. You've either got to be good at business or you've got to understand the entertainment industry that you're in. And most people running these studios today just don't get it. Now, I've been speaking with a lot of Nintendo fans who are very happy about the success in the movie they got with the Super Mario Brothers movie. But they told me that Universal wanted to make it a Princess Peach-centric movie, and Nintendo said no. And Nintendo were right. Because who's more famous? Luigi and Mario or Princess Peach? Princess Peach should be involved. She should be a strong, capable character. Of course she should. I've got no issue with that. But Nintendo were absolutely right. And Hollywood are so obsessed with their politics and their extremism. But basically, this is a good partnership. And Universal, because they're getting the money, they're going to say, well, we're just going to do whatever Nintendo want. Well, guess what? If they don't do whatever Nintendo want, Nintendo can just go, bye-bye. We'll form our own studio. We'll create another partnership with people who want to listen. That's why they're never going to work with Wokesney or Disney, right, as some people know them. Because Disney would want to go down that woke direction, and Nintendo want to be faithful to the Mario Brothers and to the other games. You know, I think there's another game, or there's something they want to adapt. I'm hearing, was it Luigi's Haunted Mansion or something along those lines, and they're already developing plans. So, you know, it's a very exciting future if you're a Super Mario Brothers fan. If you're a Nintendo fan, there's lots of other games they can adapt as well. But, you know, Disney, not Disney, but this industry, I've got Disney on the mind, you see, but basically this industry doesn't know what it's doing. And, you know, one of the main, most clueless studios is WB. Every time they make an announcement, I'm shocked. Now, they made this big announcement that the Flash movie will stream on Max from the fall, and people went, oh my God, they must know it's going to be a disaster. No. Basically, the Flash movie will release in theatres from June. So if it's really successful, it could stay in theatres for a couple of months, right? Which will be June and July. Well, the fall basically is from the end of August, beginning of September. It's basically normal to go from movie theatres to renting on digital and buying on digital to the studio's streaming service. So there's nothing different here and there's nothing shocking here. So nothing surprises me from this crazy extremist industry, but the Harry Potter reboot is a terrible idea. I haven't spoken to anyone who thinks this is a great idea. We'll have to wait and see. But the biggest positive thing from yesterday's brand new rebrand for HBO Max, aka Max, was basically the promo we saw of Penguin. That looks very, very special. This has been Thursday's edition of the DC Universe Daily with me, Mick, your host with the most. Just ask your girlfriends and your wives. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you never miss this beautiful perfection. And I'll see you again in the next video. Until I see you again, goodbye, au revoir, auf Wiedersehen.